Welcome to Monroe, Louisiana, Malone Stadium, home to the ULM Warhawks, and fans have been getting ready for this one pretty much all week. Today, a showdown of a couple of foes from the Sun Belt. As we'll see, the South Alabama Jaguars taking on one of the top 5 teams in the conference, the UL Monroe Warhawks. For EA Sports College Football, Reese Davis with you alongside David Pollack and Jesse Palmer. Time to get this game started. The Warhawks will kick it away to start us off. He'll bring it back from inside his 5. Nice job executing all of the assignments as they put a stop to that return at the 22. So South Alabama's offense has the ball first today. And David, their quarterback hasn't always blown you away statistically, but he is a guy that the coaches trust.
Yeah, and he'll show you some flashes of why you should trust him, Reese. But here's the thing. This is not a guy that we're saying, go win me the football game. That's not where he's at right now in his career. Jesse, he's a guy that needs the others. That they got to help him out. They got to play on schedule, not make those mistakes, and guys really play well around him.
Yeah, David, the one thing quarterbacks don't want to be referred to as is a game manager, but that's really more what this guy is. You're right. They have to be able to run the football. They can't turn it over. They got to play great defense. If they do that in this game, he's good enough to get this win.
Makes the catch. And they reacted well to the completion, but it was too late to keep them from getting the first down. Wide open downfield. Found enough room to get it into enemy territory. They're down at the 43-yard line. Unloads quickly. And a good job of coverage by that defense. Just a short pickup. And here comes the offense on second down. Just keeps slinging it. Sets up the screen. He gets it past the first down marker, and a really nice job to set up that screen and move the sticks. Use the play fake, now to throw. He's moving out of the pocket. Nice job by this junior quarterback to get it done on the ground. The Jaguars have it with a 1st and 10. They're looking to pass from the red zone. Safe completion on the screen. Turning it on. That one takes it down to the 13-yard line. Going to work in the red zone, they can't pick up the first down without getting it into the end zone. They'll keep it on the ground. He'll be hauled down just inside the 10 at the 9 as they're trying to turn this into a score. The Jaguars line it up with a 1st and goal. Back in motion, try to clear the picture. Back to pass, it's Davenport. Looking to get it in. And he'll haul it in and take it to the end zone. Touchdown, South Alabama.
Man, it doesn't get any better than that. You script the first 10 plays, that was 10 plays. That was perfection. That was a touchdown. That's called good scouting, being ready for the football game, and executing to a T to start this game off.
Setting up for the extra point after the first score of the game. And the extra point is good, and it's 7-0. So it's a 77-yard touchdown drive. Kickoff unit on the field, and this defense will be called on to protect this lead. He'll bring it out. It's Evans. Excellent job by the kick coverage team. A pretty minimal gain on that return. So Louisiana Monroe's offense will go to work for the first time. And you've got to believe this defense has put in extra time to try to slow down this tight end, David, with the question, can they even stop him?
It's one thing to watch it. It's another thing to stop it. And I'm just impressed with the way they move him around. They use him. Sometimes he blocks. Sometimes he's a wide receiver. Like sometimes he's a lineman. Sometimes he's a wide receiver. So tough to figure out where he's going to be to double team him. but I bet he's got the attention of this defense, Jesse.
He does for sure, and because of that, David, I think it's going to open up some opportunities for maybe some of the other guys out wide. If you've got two guys covering the tight end as a quarterback, you've got to be ready to throw the football somewhere else sometimes, and so you might see a little bit more balance in the passing attack today.
And the Warhawks decide to punt it away. They'll have to boot it away for the first time tonight. First one of the day is off. He was called on 3 times in that victory last week. Not able to pop the big return, but they've got the ball back and ready to go with a fresh possession. South Alabama has it back. The Jaguar offense going to work. Already a solid start to this one. Now back to work with this 7-0 lead. Right down the middle. And he rolls into the house. Touchdown, Jaguars!
And to have a rushing touchdown of that type of yardage, you've got to be able to make something miss. It's one thing to get into the second level, but can you make that last defender miss? And you saw it on that play. Once he was in the clear with his speed, he was gone.
Lining up to add another. And the extra point will tack another one onto this lead. We check in with Kevin Connors. What's going on, Kevin?
Boys, expect the unexpected in college football, and for some, this update could fall under that category. Memphis endured a hostile crowd and the challenge that always comes with playing away from the Liberty Bowl, and the Tigers came away with the win. It wasn't a blowout, but it is a W. Regardless the outcome today, guys, these are still 2 quality programs. Proof the sport is as healthy as ever.
And Kevin Connors keeping an eye on everything all over the country. Sounds like they had a good one there. Using the quick game. Really needed a play like that to get out of their own end. They move the chains. They mark it at the 29. Off the play fake on first down. To throw. Snagged in the middle. It's Sullivan. They make the stop, trying to pick up just a little bit at a time to get to that first down marker. Second down, they'll go to the air. The safe call on the wide receiver screen. Still on his feet at the 45. And they'll do more than move the chains. They'll move that thing more than 30 yards down the field before he's finally stopped.
I know it's early in the game, but defensively after that play, you know you have to tackle the catch. When this guy gets the ball in his hands, he is so dangerous after the fact. So it's okay for him to make catches. You just got to get him to the ground quickly.
Tight end now in motion. Looking to throw on first down. And the physical play there forces the incompletion on first down. They're dealing with a second and long. Misfired on the last play. They'll go back to the air. He's got an open man. They're able to get him stopped just shy of the first down marker. The Warhawks come to the line on third down, trying to keep this drive alive. They'll try to get it through the air. Catch in the middle. It's Nixon. Picks up enough to get them first and 10 from the 11. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. He'll keep it himself. He is going nowhere. Stop at the line of scrimmage. Going to work on second down in the red zone. Is still some ground to cover to pick up that first down. Quarterback on the keeper. Wrestled down at the 8-yard line as they threaten deep in the red zone. Really need to pick up this conversion and avoid having to settle for the field goal. Quick release on the RPO. That's not quite going to be enough as they stop him 4 yards short of the marker. And on fourth down, they'll try to salvage the drive with a field goal. Never a doubt. Had to settle for the field goal.
And listen, y'all know in the booth and everywhere how I feel about kickers. Don't always love leaving it on their foot, so to speak, but nice job executing. He keeps doing stuff like that. I'll keep trotting him out there.
From inside the 10-yard line, he'll bring it back. Not a lot of space to be found. Good hustle by the coverage team, and they stop him at the 21. Plenty of time for one more snap before the end of the quarter. Using his legs, it's Bullock. And that's the end of the line on that run, and it's the end of the line for the first quarter. That's the end of the quarter. South Alabama has the lead. And they were able to build that lead into double figures. Let's take a quick look at our early stats before we move on. This could be a pivotal moment in this game as we open the second period and they try to find a way to answer. First play of the period will be a second down. From the gun, the ground game. He's stuffed after picking up one to the 23. It'll be third and long. Looking for a man. It's Davenport. Under fire. Turns it loose deep. Oh, he dropped it. That deep ball was right on the money. You just have to make that catch. And the Jaguars will punt this one away. They'll boot it away for the first time tonight. He couldn't find much running room there. Didn't get a lot of blocking, and he'll step out of bounds. UL Monroe has it back in the offense, ready to go to work. Had to settle for the chip shot field goal last time, Jesse. They'd love for this one to pay off bigger.
Yeah, it just comes down to execution, too. Did a nice job out in the field, stalled a little bit once they got down to the goal line, so they just need to be a little bit more crisp here, Dave.
Yeah, and listen, I think the first part was the most important part. You got to put the drive together first to get down there. Now, when we get down there, focus on execution and getting set.
And the quarterback will be slugged down back at the 43.
Play-action pass success has a lot to do with selling that fake. You could tell defense was not buying it, got in the backfield, got the big play.
Now a lot of work to do to move the chains, keep this drive alive after that earlier sack. On third and long, a check down will be the last resort. Can't make the connection. The pressure there caused the missed timing. And the Warhawks will try to pin them back with the punt. Doesn't say much for your drive when you're looking forward to the punt. Not going to risk a return here. Calls for the fair catch and makes it just around the 30-yard line. Opening snap of this drive comes from the 31-yard line. Trying to set up the screen. And that one looked great on the grease board, but when they blow it up like that, the defense is going to win every time. Looking to pass. It's Davenport. Got it in the middle. It's Bullock. He makes the stop almost as soon as he catches it, and they're short of the first down. Give to the back. Looking for room at the 40. Great pickup as they'll keep this drive moving, and they've got it at the 45.
And that's a great sign for this offense because this year we know there's been a little bit of inconsistency, and I think the biggest problem has been third down. Right there, nice job executing, running the ball, picking up the first, and keeping this drive alive.
They finally wrestle down the senior, but not before he picks up some valuable ground. The Jaguars have their offense in high gear. Off play action on first down. And good hands there by the defense on that shot to the end zone. Try to make up for some of that lost ground on second down. Out of the shotgun, they go to the ground.
And a nice job by the running back, finding space, getting downhill, making a good run. Great job finishing with his pads.
He'll do it himself. Oh, a lot of space. That'll be enough for a first down, and they've got it at the 16-yard line. The Jaguars pounded the rock to move the sticks, now back to work. Trying to cap this drive with the pass. Got it in the middle, it's Kitchens. They'll get it down to the 10-yard line on that completion. Operating in the red zone here on second down. Wants to go up top. And the Heat will get home, and the quarterback goes down at the 17.
And how about the inside linebacker flying through there. You see those guys come up, and you see how fast they can come up and fit the run. But how about blitzing the quarterback, getting to the quarterback, getting the big sack?
Now a lot of work to do to move the chains, keep this drive alive after that earlier sack. Dropping back, it's Davenport. And he got smacked just as he released the pass. It's incomplete. They'll try to salvage a field goal on this drive. He'll line it up from 34 yards out. Field goal is good. And now the lead is extended a little further.
Man, so many more times we're going to say, go for it, be aggressive. Nice to have a guy you can depend on, and you know you're putting 3 on the board. Nice kick, nice job.
Here's the return from inside his 10. Nice job executing all of the assignments as they put a stop to that return at the 22. They'll snap this one to start the drive from their own 22. Picks his way and gets 4 out to the 27. Solid pickup of 4 on first down. It's 2nd and 6. Pulls and fires complete. All down, but he has enough to move the chains. Now from the 40, it's 1st and 10. Use the play fake, now to throw. Quickly to the tight end. You'll take this every time. 5 yards on the first down play. There's not a lot more beautiful in football than the play action and the open tight end.
Yeah, because it freezes those linebackers. It freezes those safeties because they have to come up for a second and play the run. And then the big tight ends, big targets on the back end, can catch the football and make big plays.
They want to run it left here. It's a seam wide open. There he goes. Running it inside the 30 and finally out of bounds at the 27. Timeout called by the defense. It's their first of the half as they'll make some adjustments. This first half of offense won't go on the highlight reel so far, but starting to get things moving, it's 1st and 10. It's picked off, and that's number 10. Looking for more room. And the return man just kept finding alleys to run in, and he gets it to the 46-yard line.
How about the big fella? I know this is not in his job description to pick off passes, but the eye-hand coordination, able to get his big paws up there, stabs it out of air, and it was like he was almost surprised he had the football. Just start rumbling and stumbling once he had possession.
Let's see if they can get something going here late in the half. Looking for a man, it's Davenport. Always a welcome play for the defense as they get a sack at the 47.
Well, obviously, at this point in the first half, the defense is finding themselves in a hole. You just get the feeling if they're going to get back in this, they're going to need more plays like that. They're going to need sacks. They're going to need turnovers. They're going to have to create negative plays to get themselves some momentum.
And the Jaguars trying to find their way forward after the big loss on the last play. Wants to fire on 2nd down. Got it set up on the outside. Not a whole lot of room there on that screen pass as it just never developed. Down to 2 minutes before the half, and they'll take the timeout and see if they can add a little more before the break. On 3rd and long, he's going to have to turn one loose downfield. Working the middle, it's complete. Doesn't quite make it to the first down marker. He's a yard short. The Jaguars will bring the punt team onto the field. This will be the 2nd time they've had to kick it away. And he tried to pin him deep with that punt. Instead, it goes into the end zone. It'll come out to the 20. A lot of field in front of them as they open this possession from their own 20. How about this sophomore stopping him short of the first down line? Quick tempo, no huddle offense. 2nd down, clock's running. Back to pass. Throws for the tight end. Nice defensive play to get a hand in there and knock it away.
The offense just has not been able to find a way to get their rhythm going here in the first half. We just haven't seen it in the passing game. That was a really good example of it again. If they're going to score more points in the second half, they've got to make some adjustments here at halftime.
Trying to move the sticks on third down through the air. Punts it out of the air. At the 45 on its way. A huge play, and they get it all the way to the 45-yard line. We got a timeout here late in the first half, and they'll try to get more points on the board before the break. Able to scrounge 3 yards out of that one somehow. It's 2nd and 7. Timeout called by the offense, and now they just have 1 remaining in the half. So now it's 2nd and long. Finds the tight end. Gets it down to the 33. They pick up the first down. Got to use their time wisely. The Warhawks come to the line with a fresh set of downs. And he has a solid gain before the defense bottles him up. The clock will stop with this timeout from the offense. They'll get a chance to regroup on the sideline. And the Warhawks can play this second down a lot of ways with just a few yards to go. Looking downfield, and time is running short. Nifty little scamper on this one. Enough for the first down, and he slides in safely. Running out of time here in the first half. They're going to have to be efficient to put some points on the board before the break. What will they dial up on second, and a long way to go?
Second down coming up.
Looking to go up top, and time's running out in the half. How about this defense making a statement to end the half with a sack?
9 on the play. Brings up third down.
That's the end of the second quarter. That means it's time to join Kevin in our halftime update.
Fellas, you've had yourselves one great broadcast so far today there in Monroe. And how can we begin our analysis of that first half without singing the praises of one of the elite backs in football? Racking up huge numbers on the ground, even throwing the occasional block. This kid is the total package. And if this defense doesn't adjust its strategy, he could be headed towards a career day. And just like that, let's head back to our team inside Malone Stadium.
We're just about ready to start the second half.
Set to kick this one away.
On the run from inside his own 5. And he did a good job bobbing and weaving and finding a little bit of running room on that return. First play of this drive will start from the 31-yard line. First play from scrimmage here in the second half, and they'll keep it on the ground. Didn't get much done on that run. He'll fight his way out and maybe pick up a yard.
Nice job by the defense, seeing the run, pulling the trigger, getting downhill, and stopping the running back for no gain.
From the gun, they'll try to impose their running game. Lots of running room. They get him at the 42, but he picked up 10 there. This offense will snap it from the 42 on 1st and 10. They'll send the tight end in motion. Looking to throw on 1st down. Grabbed in the middle. It's Godfrey. He's brought down quickly. Minimal gain there. Still a bit short of the first down. The Warhawks in a good spot here with 2nd and short. Running into the open space. They make the stop, but he'll have enough yardage for a first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs.
Well, that's 2 very good decisions on that play by the quarterback, right? Number 1, not to hand it off. That was the right look to throw into. And the second good decision was his guy was covered, so don't throw it. Just take off and get what you can get. You got to like the decision-making this guy is showing right now in this game.
And this one will be stopped for no gain. And the Warhawks in the hurry-up. On 3rd and long, he's going to have to throw for it. And the defense is swarming to keep him from getting to the first down. The Warhawks will line up to punt it away. Excellent coverage that time. Didn't give him any room to set up a big return. This drive will start from the 19-yard line. Scanning the field, it's Davenport. Slings it downfield. Hauls it in. They corral him out of bounds. Mark it down at the 38, and this offense might have something going. Off the play fake on first down to throw. Time running out, and he goes down at the 34.
And everybody knows when you're running that play action, that fake has to be great. Everybody has to bite it for it really to work. Defense didn't bite it, didn't bite the bait, went after the quarterback, got him on the ground.
The Jaguars with a long way to go after the loss on the last play. Going to swing it on second down. And the pass is incomplete thanks to a big hit. And the Jaguars are way behind the sticks on this third and forever. From the gun, wants to pass. Quickly complete. And here comes the punt team. They'll look to pin him deep. Kicks it high, and it's just hanging there as if it has helium in it and floating down toward the earth. He'll get it up to about the 44-yard line before they slam the brakes on it. First step of this drive comes from their own 44. To the air on first down. Fires to the big fella. A 7-yard pickup. It'll be 2nd and 3. And the Warhawks with myriad options after that big pickup on first down. Quickly out to the tight end. Inside the 35, knocked out of bounds. This offense with a big play, and they'll mark it at the 33. From the gun to give, looking for room. Knocked down at the 29 after a pickup of 4. Halfway there on first down, it's 2nd and 5. Off the RPO, complete. And a good job in coverage there as they stop it after just a few. The Warhawks really need to keep this drive alive on third down. Reads it, fires complete. Just outside the red zone as they pick up the first down. They'll spot it at the 22.
Well, look, that wasn't a touchdown, but that was a massive play for this offense. They needed some momentum. They needed to find a rhythm, and what better way than converting on third down. Awesome job by the quarterback getting through his progression.
They'll move the tight end. Off the play fake on first down, wants to throw.
I think he did a really good job, first of all, keeping his eyes downfield. You can see he wanted to throw the football. But when it's not there, don't force it, tuck it down, get some positive yards.
Caught in the backfield. It's Sullivan. Recovered by the defense, and he's off. They bring him down, but not only do they get the turnover, he picked up a chunk of yardage, too.
And when you're on defense and it's wet, and it's rainy, you know exactly what time it is. That ball gets a little heavier. It gets a little slicker. You're trying to get to that thing. You know you get your hand on it. There's a good chance it's coming out. Nice job by the defense forcing it with the assist from the weather.
Guys, we'll have another look at this South Alabama offense. They had to punt it away on their last possession, but, man, what great field position this time.
I mean, this is awesome. Like, last possession didn't go great. Now you're set up in an opportunity to get some points. Start thinking about what plays I like, Jesse, as I cross the 50.
There are a lot of offensive coordinators out there, David, and in this position, they like to take a shot right away and try and capitalize on this field position.
He's finally stopped and brought down at the 15. The Jaguars come to the line in the hurry-up. Leaves it with the back. He's tackled right at the 10-yard line, and they're trying to cash in on this drive. Second down coming up on this red zone opportunity. Dropping back, it's Davenport. And he will get home, and the quarterback goes down at the 17.
And, man, this defense added again. They've done this so much today. Affected the quarterback, gotten sacks, forced third and long situations. It doesn't matter about the yards on the drive. Now you put them in a very predictable passing situation.
Now a lot of work to do to move the chains, keep this drive alive after that earlier sack. Rush is on him. Just had to get rid of that one to save the yardage on third down. And here comes the field goal unit for the second time tonight. And he'll try to keep that smooth leg swing going for the second time today. This one from 34 yards out. And this one sails through just inside that left upright. And they'll push that lead out a little further. That lead just keeps getting fatter, and this kickoff team doing a little running. From inside his own 15, looking for a crevice. Probably needed to pick up an extra block or two, but as it is, he'll be stopped at the 28. He'll pull it on the read. And I think they'll give him 2 on that one. 2nd and 8 coming up. Got a little work done on first down. Now back to the line. Second down, he'll throw it. The throw to the outside is complete. They make the stop. Not a whole lot of ground picked up there, and they'll have work to do to get the first down. They'll snap it from the gun on third down. And that's incomplete. A defender all over him. Knocked the ball to the ground. 4th down coming up. And the Warhawks line up to punt it away. 4th time tonight we've seen this guy come on to punt. A fair catch taken just inside the 40-yard line. Opening play of the drive from the 39. From the gun, the running back tries to hit the hole. Not much running room there thanks to this senior defender. As they get set to snap it, just about to reach the end of the quarter. Looking to throw, it's Davenport. And it'll be incomplete. This is some physical pass defense. And they'll get off one more play before the end of the quarter. On third down, going up top. Got his man! They get him down, and that'll be the final play of the third period. And you want to talk about his favorite receiver, it might be everybody, based on the number of guys getting touches and a chance to show off their hands in the passing game. One more period to go, and we'll see just how much fight they've got left in them. So first down, we'll open up the final period. He'll keep it himself. And a pickup of 8 opens a world of opportunities on 2nd and 2. The Jaguars with myriad options after that big pickup on first down. And he was fortunate not to lose yardage on that play, able to wedge it back to the line of scrimmage. This feels like 4-down territory, 3rd and short from the 40. Motion from the wide receiver. On 3rd and short, they'll try to convert through the air. Fires toward the end zone. Oh, he had it. The deep ball was there, and it just trickled through his fingers. And the Jaguars will send out the punt unit. He's getting a lot of work. 4th time he's punted tonight. You'd think they would have had a good chance to down that one deep, but the bounce carries it into the end zone for the touchback. They'll ride the running back and leave it with him. Got to be smart, patient, great vision, uses all of that to get to the 29. The Warhawks with a 2nd and short to keep this drive moving. Looking to fire. Here's a heat. He misses his man. The accuracy just not what it needed to be on that play. And the Warhawks come to the line on 3rd and short, looking to keep the drive moving. He'll make a play on 3rd down. He's got enough for the first as they mark it at the 32. Offense in a bunch formation. Wants to throw on first down. Snagged out of the air. Great pickup as they'll keep this drive moving, and they've got it at the 45. Gets the back moving. Wants to go up top on first down. The sure hands, it's Griffin. They stop him almost immediately. Short gain there, and still a little ground to cover to pick up the first. Takes the handoff. It's Galloway. Stopped in the backfield, and that'll be a loss of 2. Now on third down, this offense has been rolling. Can the defense stand tall? From the gun, wants to pass. Caught over the middle. It's Godfrey. They'll move the chains. Good execution on third down. They've got it at the 41. Looking downfield on first down. He'll loft one deep down the left side. Oh, he dropped it. That deep ball was right on the money. You just have to make that catch. Behind the chains now on second and long. Tight end in motion. See how the D reacts. From the gun, running back on the move.
And defensively, one of the most important things is stopping the run, being physical up front. That was too easy for this offense. You can't give up 5 and 6 yards a pop on the ground. Like, that is a recipe for disaster. They've got to be more physical, get off the ball, get downhill faster.
He gets down to the 25 before going out of bounds. They'll run it out of the shotgun. This defensive front just ran free in the backfield. He'll lose 3. Not many hiccups on this drive, but it's 2nd and 13 now. Wants to go up top. Catch in the middle. It's Godfrey. And the defense settled in to stop that one for a short gain. They're close enough for a makeable field goal from the 26, but they'd love to convert this 3rd and long. Grabbed over the middle. It's Griffin. That will be enough to move the chains and give them a first down in the red zone at the 14. Quarterback on the keeper. He'll be hauled down just inside the 10 at the 9 as they're trying to turn this into a score. The Warhawks will hustle to the line. Back to pass on second down. Under fire. And they get to the quarterback and knock him down back at the 16. Now a lot of work to do to move the chains, keep this drive alive after that earlier sack. Pocket breaking down. And here comes the pressure, and there he goes down again. Coach has no choice here. The offense has to stay on the field, down multiple possessions this late. 4th down attempt coming. And it's incomplete, and the defense stands tall and gets off the field.
Offense is stopped. Will be in turnover on downs.
They'll keep it on the ground. They want this clock to move. And the defense holds firm. No pickup at all on that play. Snagged in the middle. It's Kitchens. Tackled almost immediately. They're well short of the first down. We've reached the 2-minute timeout, and the clock is definitely on their side. They'll just try to run it out here. They come to the line facing 3rd and long from the 25. Got the first down and more. And the defense finally makes the stop after the sweet run and good gain. The Jaguars getting set on 1st and 10. They'll give it to him again. Knocked down in the backfield, and boy, this guy's had a good day, but they finally get to him on that run. The Jaguars have put themselves in dire straits after that last play. It's 2nd and a mile. Creating some space, getting just enough good blocking, and they've got it up to the 47-yard line. Oh, that was a pretty rough showing there by this team. Just couldn't find a way to get things going and come up with the win.
Just got outplayed, Reese. There were moments in this game. There were plays to be had and plays to be made. At the end of the day, they just did not execute well enough in any of the three phases on any side of the football. So, David, moving forward, a lot to take away from this game as they try to improve.
A lot to take away and a lot to learn from. I mean, losses definitely hurt. They sting, but a lot of times most teams refocus and they get a sense of urgency now that they got a loss in that column. So watch the tape, watch what you need to improve on, and go attack it in practice.
That will put the wrap on things from here. For David Pollack and Jesse Palmer, I'm Reese Davis. You've been watching another presentation of EA Sports College Football.